Self-sabotage is not always obvious. It's not always necessarily destructive or intentional. In fact, a lot of self-sabotaging can be unconscious and just learnt behaviors and almost like a normal thing. Everything is information and the body is always listening. So my question is, what kind of information are you giving yourself, and are you sabotaging yourself without potentially realizing? Today I'm going to talk into 7 ways you could potentially be sabotaging yourself, not as a way of shaming yourself, but as a way of just bringing some awareness into potentially harmful things you're doing or potentially harmful information you're providing your system. The first way you could be sabotaging yourself is entertaining destructive thoughts. Thoughts are definitely information. Thoughts are a signal. And even if they're not necessarily things you can see, thoughts do create the way that you feel and then therefore act and behave in this world. And our behaviors and the way that we act will obviously correlate to what we then create, what we attract, and therefore does become a very tangible, visible, material thing in this world. So if you're providing yourself with these destructive thoughts that you're not good enough, you're in danger, you're, not worthy, you're giving your body this information, and it doesn't matter if you're doing the things in the outside world that are supposedly healthy. If you don't think that you are, your body will not believe it. So one thing you can do is just start to bring awareness to, how am I thinking? Because most of the time our thoughts are going on repeat unconsciously, the exact same as the day before, same as the day before that, and often it's from very, very young. We've just been ingrained with these certain thoughts. So if we can just catch our thoughts now and actually discern, is this thought destructive or productive for me? Is this thought something I want to bring into the real world? If the answer is no, then replace that thought with the positive counter, or even better, say that out loud, and even 3 positive things out loud. If you can't think of positive things about yourself, then just turn it into gratitude, things you're grateful for. The second way you could be self-sabotaging without realizing is always distracting yourself, always consuming, always being busy, always seeing people, always doing, even if it's productive stuff. It's in these little pockets of silence or stillness or just being that emotions are able to be processed. Things come through that you wouldn't notice or realize had you been distracting and doing and being busy all the time. So if you say you can't sit still with yourself, then I highly recommend you start introducing little pockets of stillness, because otherwise you will just be running on autopilot, and potentially those thoughts that I said before will be dictating your life. But it's when you are able to sit with your thoughts, and your emotions can be very confronting, I know, but this is when we start to notice, what are the thoughts that are potentially running my life, and actually, is this serving me? The next way you could be sabotaging yourself is your light environment. Might sound silly, but it's a big one. If you are waking up and blasting the artificial blue light into your eyes or going on your phone before you get outside and see the natural light, you're already setting yourself up for less than optimal, let's just say, health. We are meant to live as nature intended, which means rising when the sun rises, getting that natural light into our eyes and onto our body. And then same with as the sun goes down, not getting gross artificial light when the sun is down. If you're blasting artificial blue light or scrolling on your phone first thing in the morning before you've been outside, or before you go to bed when it's dark outside, you are sending the signals to your body that it is middle of the day, time to be wide and awake, and everything gets out of whack. All systems in the body are connected and they are driven by the light environment. So without it being an overwhelming thing, simply the way that you wake up and rise with the sun, get outside before you blast the gross light, get outside before you go onto the phone, get the natural light into your eyes, onto your body, onto your skin, everywhere. And then in the evening, a big one is to really, to the best of your ability, don't let the artificial blue light into your eyes, and onto your skin even better, but start with the eyes. So get yourself either some red lamps, candles, or blue light blocking glasses, and then you can walk around and you'll be fine. But this is a huge one. Light is information for all the systems in your body. And this then correlates into what I'm going to speak into next, which is you could be sabotaging yourself through your sleep hygiene. And this does start with how you wake up in the morning, because this is what sets that circadian clock, is waking up, getting outside first thing. Believe it or not, that will help with your sleep at nighttime. Sleep is way too underlooked when it comes to all things health. This is when the real rest and repair and restore, and the emotional processing, the work you've done in the gym or with creating or work or anything, is able to be digested, assimilated, and processed. So if your sleep is not a priority in your life, I highly recommend just adjusting a few things. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming thing. This is actually a very nourishing thing you can do for yourself. A few key tips, so no overwhelm, just a few key tips would be, like I said, the blocking blue light an hour or two before bedtime. Ideally, when the sun goes down, you also don't get the blue light into your eyes. So blue light blocking glasses, red lamps. You can even make your phone screen and your laptop screen red. Another one is having your sleeping setup, your bedroom nice and dark when you sleep. If you have to wear an eye mask, do so. Cool room is also best for sleep. And then just allowing that hour before bed to be your wind down time. Not the scrolling time, not the learning, the hustle, the stimulating time, but the real wind down, calming time. The fifth way you could be sabotaging yourself might seem very obvious, but it's also just underlooked, is the food that you're eating, the quality of food you're eating. It's all information. If you're feeding yourself toxic, processed chemicals, then your body is going to obviously respond to this in a certain way. But if you are fueling yourself, nourishing yourself, enjoying your food, your body is going to also process this in a certain way in accordance to the food. So this isn't a restriction, it's not a protocol, it's not any form of rigidity, but just being mindful of what foods actually make you feel good, and what has the process been to get this food here. Has the animal been living in a nasty environment, caged, fed what it's not meant to feed? You're going to ingest the fear and the health of that animal. Or has that animal been living healthy on paddocks, eating grass, really loved? You're going to ingest that animal. So I just know there's so much information on food out there. It can become incredibly overwhelming, but it actually is really simple if you can just eat quality whole foods to the best of your ability, the least amount of ingredients, the least amount of processing, the least amount of chemicals, and then actually eating in a state of calm, so you're able to digest the food, so you're able to enjoy the food, not eating distracted or stressed, because then it doesn't matter how good the food is. If you're eating in a state of stress, you're not going to digest it properly. So food is information, and then obviously the way that you eat as well is information. The next way you could be sabotaging yourself without realizing is being around toxic people. You truly are who you surround yourself with. People are information. We absorb who we are around. So same thing. This is not about shame, but it's bringing more awareness to, hang on, who am I spending my time with? How do I feel when I'm around these people? Do they energize me? Do they allow me to speak my truth, or do I feel constricted? Do I feel small? Do I feel like I can't be myself around them? People are information. Who you spend your time with, it truly does matter. So just taking a look at your social circle, or who you spend your time with, and bringing more awareness to, are these people picking me up, or are these people dragging me down? The seventh way you could be sabotaging yourself is people pleasing at the expense of your truth. It might seem like a good thing to put other people first before your own needs, and to an extent it is important to be there for people. But if you're doing this at the cost of yourself, by abandoning yourself and your needs, going away from what feels right and your truth, then you're starting to strip yourself away from your truth. And the further away you get, the more you say no, the more you do get further from your body and your intuition. Because if you stop listening, the body will start to think, well, she's not listening to me anyway, so like whatever. But the more we can honor our feelings and live in alignment with what feels right to us, even if this means having to say no or putting ourselves before certain people sometimes, then that's actually the best thing you can do, because then the body will reward you for that, or it will present you with people, places, things that are in more alignment with you. If you keep on pleasing others and doing things that aren't in alignment with you, then of course the body, the world, the universe will continue to present you with people, places, things that are in accordance with that kind of frequency or alignment per se. If you recognized or resonated with any of these, it is not a bad thing. It does not mean you're broken. It's amazing, because it means you've brought some awareness to what's going on. The only reason I speak into this is because I myself have been going through this, and I still am. But by becoming aware, this is when change can happen. Because like I said, most of these little ways of being are unconscious. We don't realize it's something that has become a habit, or something that has just kind of been ingrained in us from a young age. So even if you just took one little thing away from this video, I am so happy. And I just really want to hit home the point that everything is information. And my question to you is, what signals are you sending yourself? Are they serving you, or are they sabotaging you?